Hi, this is Vinney Chopra. Thank you for again joining on my podcast, Apartment Syndication Made Easy. As you know, I wrote that book, which is a top seller in Amazon. Internationally also got a lot of acclaim, reviews and all. And this podcast is about syndication, about commercial investing. I like to bring great guests for you and dig into their story, their successes, and find out some nuggets from them so that you could really enjoy them and learn from them and then implement them. Hi there, guys. This is Vinney Chopra back again. I hope you're liking the content that we're putting out almost 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week. By the way, we want to give everything away for free at our channel. That's the best part. And, this is Syndication Made Easy, the book I wrote, and we have a sequel to the book, which is My Positivity Brings Profitability. I rewrote the book. My third book is coming out, Senior Living Investing Made Easy. I have a great friend today with me, Kim Lisa Taylor. She's a well-known personality in USA as the most favored syndication attorney. I know she's my favorite because she did 26 syndications for me. And I'm who I am today because of her and her partner. Jean Trowbridge was there together. And then Kim helped me all the way. So let me introduce you, Kim, formally, if I may. Those of you who don't know her, majority of you know her. Kim Lisa Taylor is nationally recognized corporate securities attorney, speaker, and the author of the #1 Amazon best-selling book, How to Legally Raise Private Money. I would highly recommend you get that book, guys. Go to Amazon, get the listening. I think it's in audio too, and then paperback edition. Oh, okay. So that'll be fantastic. And she's the founder of Syndication Attorneys, PLLC. I want to say something else. Please go to that website because you'll get so much material. She's one attorney, syndication attorney, that brings everything in more understandable forms. And she writes so many white papers. Get them all. You would love it. You would really, really love it. So please do that. And then, of course, she has been a responsible attorney for hundreds of securities offerings. 26 of mine, aren't they all in there? And for clients who are raising money for private investors. And we're going to talk a lot about today syndication, not the preliminary, but we're going to talk about the systems and the LPs and the GPs and how the structure might be with, paying different people on not only the investors, but also paying the partners in the management side of the GP, right, Kim? We'll talk about, how to stay out of jail, and make sure that you're not doing like joint ventures or different things, and you should be doing syndication instead. And the cost is not the factor at all because I've never paid a dime from my pocket, guys. Never. We raise the money from investors and it's legal fee. It's the legal cost of forming the corporations and doing the syndication packet and everything. So it's nothing. Price should not be an issue to do syndication. Hi, Kim. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Thanks for having me, Vinney.
No, you're looking great. And, we have known each other for, 15 years.
Yeah, it's been a very long time.
And actually I talked to Linda Sands. You introduced me to Linda, your good friend, and we are great friends now. And they moved from San Diego up to Redmond, Washington. Yes. We just chatted actually from Florida. I was in Florida last week on business, had a lot of fun there. And I'm so excited, because this life is giving so much back. If you give more and more and more out, it just comes back to us in many folds. And that has happened to you. So please tell our audience, I know you're not a stranger at all. I'm pretty sure they all know you.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. So we have a corporate securities practice. We've helped a lot of clients like Vinney. One of the things we like to do is to help people who are just starting out. Never done it before. Of course, we do have a lot of clients that come back again and again, like Vinney. But we really try to help our clients, not just, we don't just want to give you the legal documents. We want to make sure you understand the rules so you don't get in trouble. And so you don't have fear of getting in trouble, which can make you more successful because you don't hesitate, right? You're not afraid to do the deal. You're not afraid to talk to investors because you know you're doing it right. So that's kind of our thing, is to help educate and make sure that you have the right foundation to start and grow your syndication business, just like you, Vinney.
So true, so true. I started with duplex. I still own the duplex in Odessa, Texas. It's
Oh my gosh.
$2,600 or something. Cash flow, no mortgage, no nothing. The other thing is I started with 14 units. And then 109 units. You were the one who did the syndication and went to almost 6,500 units. But
Wow.
You're so right. I think I can definitely say thanks to you publicly, because I wouldn't be where I am today if I had not used the power of syndication. And many of you, listening to us guys, syndication is just pooling the money together of like-minded people, their interest, their money to buy larger and larger and larger deals, right?
Yeah, well, you mentioned something that we should talk about, because we've talked about syndication, but there could be some people listening who aren't really sure what that means. So let's kind of lay that foundation. So when you're doing a deal and you just have a small number of people, say 2 to 4 people that are doing a deal, you might, instead of doing a syndicate, you might do a joint venture. And to determine whether you're doing a joint venture or if you have to cross into the realm of doing syndicates is whether the investors are actively involved in generating their own profit. So when all of the members, if we're going to do a joint venture, we would create a member managed LLC. All of the members are considered to be managing members. They can all participate. They can all make in all the management decisions. They can all have more than just a voting right. They actually have to have a job and a role. So if you can demonstrate that, then you can do joint ventures. In my opinion, joint ventures don't work once you get past 5 people. So 5 people seems to be the right number, 5 or less, for a joint venture. Beyond that, I've seen many problems happen when people try to put too many people into a joint venture. So the alternative then, if you need more money than 4 or 5 people can bring to the table, then is to create a manager managed LLC and offer interest to passive investors. So in a joint venture, they were all actively involved in generating their own profits. In a syndicate, where this is where you're using a manager managed LLC, and the manager is making all the decisions and doing the day-to-day operation of the company, and then the members are passively investing and they're relying on the manager to generate the profit for them. So when you cross over into having enough investors that you need to start looking at doing syndicates with passive investors, then you are selling securities. And the way you know that is because there's a test.
Hi, you are listening to Syndication Made Easy podcast. We will be right back after this short break.
Hi, thank you so much. This is Vinney Chopra, and thank you for subscribing to my podcast and YouTube channel and Facebook pages and all the great things, and LinkedIn. Connect with me. I come live to you every Friday at 9:30 Pacific with Vinney and Bo show. Please also look at that, and also the podcast, which is my Apartment Syndication Made Easy. The book I wrote a couple of years back became international top seller on Amazon International now. And then we like to bring great guests for you every week or twice a week sometime to give you a lot of great knowledge. So please subscribe. You give us 5-star reviews on the iTunes. The better the guests we can bring, and our ranking will go higher also. Thanks again for following us and really getting the most out of it. Please comment, like, share, because we would love to bring better and better material for you.
And the way you know that is because there's a test. And the test is when you're selling something that involves an investment of money in a common enterprise with an expectation of profits based solely on the efforts of the promoter. So when you have those 4 elements, that's called the Howie Test. If you want to look it up online, you can see it, or you can go to our website. There's lots of information, or you can even look at it up at the SEC's website. But that's called the Howie Test to determine whether you're selling securities. So when you have all those 4 elements, the investment of money in a common enterprise with an expectation of profits based solely on the efforts of the promoter. So the management team is the promoter. They're the ones that are running the deal. They found the deal. They're going to oversee the property managers. They're going to do all the due diligence. They're going to report to the investors. That's when the management, they're relying on, the passive investors are relying on management. So you're selling something called an investment contract. So that investment contract is what those 4 elements comprise. And once you're selling investment contracts, those are securities. So now you have to comply with securities laws. And what that means is that you either have to register your offering, which is like taking your company public, which is a big, long, and expensive ordeal, or you have to qualify for an exemption from registration. So most of our clients, or all of our clients that are doing real estate deals, are using the exemptions because you just don't have time to go public on a single project. You've only got about 90 days to close on that project. So you have to get your paperwork in order. You have to go ahead and raise all that money and get to the closing table, or you're never going to be able to do the deal. So then you're going to look for an exemption. So there are several exemptions from registration, and the registration really just means getting pre-approval in advance from regulators before you offer anybody the opportunity to advance or to invest. So in your case, you're going to use this exemption, which allows you to raise the money without getting pre-approval from regulators, but there's very specific rules that you have to follow. And so there's 2 very common rules that everybody follows. One is called Regulation D, Rule 506B, and the other is called Regulation D, Rule 506C. So Rule 506B is where everyone starts. All right. So we have a lot of clients that never go beyond Rule 506B, but everybody starts with Rule 506B. And the reason is because this is the friends and family exemption. This is the one that allows you to raise an unlimited amount of money from an unlimited number of accredited investors and up to 35 non-accredited but sophisticated investors. So 35 of your family and friends who might not be accredited. But you can't find them through any means of general advertising or solicitation. So that means that you have to already have a pre-existing substantive relationship with those people. And the pre-existing means it has to predate the offer. So when this offering was available and you were actually actively raising money. And then the substantive means that you already had to have a conversation with your investors about their suitability to be in your deal. So that means you're going to talk to them about whether they're accredited. If they're not accredited, how might they be sophisticated? So sophisticated is more than just someone with some savings and a job. They have to have gone through some training or have some education, background, experience in real estate investing, or just heavy stock market investing, or or they can have a financial advisor that advises them on whether or not this is a good investment for them. So they can do that by themselves or with an investment advisor, but it's someone more than just savings and a job. So they've got to go beyond that and get educated. So that's the reason that everybody starts there, is because, first of all, most of us know people who are not accredited but are fine investors. And many of us have family and friends that would be great investors, and they already know, like, and trust you. They're interested in what you're doing. So they don't care as much about your track record. They just like you and they believe in you, and they will go ahead and invest with you and your team, and they like the deal. Once the alternative to Regulation D, Rule 506B is Rule 506C, which allows you to freely advertise, but it restricts you to only allowing verified accredited investors to be in your deal. And so accredited is someone who has over $1 million net worth, excluding equity in their primary residence, or they have $200,000 a year income if they're single, or $300,000 a year income if they're married or married equivalent. So you could do, people who are cohabitating can now commingle their assets in order to meet that accredited standard. So if you do the 506C, then you can only have accredited investors. They actually have to go through a verification process. But here's the reason that most people start with 506B, and a lot of people stay there, is because once you start advertising for investors, What do you think the first question an investor is going to ask you that doesn't know you?
Well, how many? What's your track record, right?
How many have you done before? That's right. How many have you done before? And so your friends and family are more interested in you and your prior success at, they believe in you. They're less likely to be concerned about how many of these you've done before. They're going to take a chance with you early on. And that's the difference. So once you've got a very significant track record and you've developed a database of enough accredited investors, now you can advertise for investors, but it's still very naive to think that you're just going to do a podcast and somebody's going to call you up and send you $100,000 checks. Right? They still want to get to know you. So you still have to take the time to develop a relationship. And if you do the same things that you do to develop your relationships with your non-accredited investors, if you do that with all of your accredited investors, they're far more likely to invest with you and invest with you again and again.
So true. And Kim, that's exactly happened in my life, with our team starting from one investor who gave 50,000 or 65, but he ended up giving 125 by the time we were closing the deal. He liked it so much. But you're right, that's where it starts. And more you give back to the investors and transparency, trust, and meetings, every quarter or every other month or things like that, that helps them to see that their money is secure and they can sleep good at night. I say that way, And that flourished now to 430 investors in my case, but a lot of them came from 506 Bs. Yes. And that's a great one. And it's a process too, because in the Cs, I've done 1 or 2 Cs, but it's been difficult because they get into a rhythm, that they don't have to do verifiable accredited status. So that's a little one thing, extra step, right, that they have to go through, right? Yeah.
Right. Well, and the SEC did just relax the standard on that a little bit.
Oh, tell us more about that.
In December, they changed the standard so that you only, someone who gets verified, if they reinvest with you again in other deals in the future, you only have to do the verification once every 5 years.
Oh, 5 years. Okay.
5 years. So that's good with you, but it doesn't mean they can go invest with somebody else and get certified and then use that certification.
Okay.
They have to get verified with you. And it doesn't mean that you have to do the verification. There's companies that will do that for them for like $69, but they still have to submit their financial statements or their income statements to somebody, and it's so a little bit like applying for a loan, but not as rigorous. So what's required is that they have to provide a letter from their CPA, registered investment advisor or attorney, someone with a license, or you can review their financial information yourself, but then you have to safeguard it, right? You've got to make sure that you're not, it's not becoming subject to cyber theft that you could become held liable for.
Yes.
So it's better to let a third party handle that sensitive information than you, unless you are in the business of doing that. Like if you've been a mortgage broker, if you've been a CPA or something like that, then you know how to look at that information that could work for you.
Mm-hmm. And verifyinvestor.com is one. There are some other ones too. Now they charge $50-$60. And
we have there's a place where people can get it done right through our website. We have a partnership.
Oh, wonderful. Right. Hey, guys, I'm going to put a plug for Kim. Really, please do go to syndicationattorneys.com. Like I started out saying, there is so much art, so many articles, white papers. I mean, Kim always makes it so easy to understand the concepts. And anybody who's starting out, brand new one, you want to learn. You want to learn the basics right, like he taught me, so that I can be out of trouble, and don't want to get it. And the fear factor. See, that's the other thing I find. A lot of times it's analysis paralysis. And you say, you know what? I remember my friends told me, Vinney, syndication business, you'll have lawsuits, you'll have this, you'll have that, I bet you might be thinking about that too, listening to us or watching us, but take that step because it's not rocket science, to be truthful. It's a legal way, which I love it. I love it because it's SEC ruling to keep everybody honest. And it's for protection of the fiduciary responsibility that we have towards our friends and family and everybody, the investors, because it's their hard-earned money. They're entrusting us to utilize and spend and put it into good use and take care of the asset. Because I do want to talk about that, Kim. Now, it's not when you buy the deal. It's the day you get the keys, then your job work. I mean, job starts from there, right?
Well, there's a lot of work going up to getting the deal. Of course, you've got to have a process in place for finding deals and vetting deals and developing relationships with brokers who will actually send you their better deals.
Yep.
So there, that's all what your program is about, right? That's your academy, right?
Yes.
That's why you go through Vinney's Academy. So we're going to help you. We'll help you figure out how to legally get the investors and how you can approach them, and we can help you with that part. But you need to learn from someone like Vinney on how to get the deals and what's the right deals, what are the wrong deals, and make sure that you're not making $100,000 mistakes with
Thank you so much, Kim. I want to put a shameless plug over here. By the way, guys, you can learn everything about everything on syndication for $1,497. What? Everything. I've 1,000 lectures now with all the document library and everything, for $1,497. Because my goal is now different. I don't need to work a day in my life. So I just want a lot of people happy and successful. And my book also, International Top Seller, free, totally free. Just go to vinneychopra.com/free book. That's it. And you'll get a digital copy and you can do anything with it and so forth like that. No, thank you. Please, Kim, let's get into the sponsorship side. I really believe that not too many cooks in the kitchen will be better deal. Otherwise, the recipe gets burnt and everything. Could you take us through what I know you work with so many different structures, and I find the lesser number of people on the general partner side, the better.
That's right. So when we're talking about syndicates, we're talking about either an LLC where you can either create a member managed LLC or a manager managed LLC. And when we create that manager managed LLC and then we offer interest to passive investors, that's when you're creating securities. And just to mention one last thing before we move on, what does it mean if you are selling securities? It means that you have to provide the right disclosure documents, and so there's some additional documentation and some filings that are required. So your costs are going to go up a little bit, but like Vinney said, you're going to get all that money back from your investors because you raise the money from investors to pay for all of that. So we're now back to we're creating a manager managed LLC, and we're talking about what does the management structure look like? Okay, so if you were doing a limited partnership, the structure would be very similar, only the terminology is different. In an LLC, we have members and we have a manager. In a general part or a limited partnership, we have a general partner who is the same role as the manager in an LLC, and we have limited partners who are the same role as the members in an LLC. So just think members equal limited partners, manager equals GP. Okay, so we hear a lot of people talking about the GP, although we really don't use limited partnerships very often anymore. They were the popular syndication structure up until the 70s, and then the LLCs came into existence and they kind of took over because in an LLC, everyone is protected from liability. In a limited partnership, the general partner has unlimited liability. And only the limited partners are protected. So we like this manager managed LLC better because it protects everyone, including management in that structure. So when we're doing a manager managed LLC, we usually create a separate LLC for the manager.
Yes.
Right. Or for the GP. And so that structure, who's involved in that? Well, that could either be a member managed LLC, like we talked about with the joint venture structure, okay, where all the, 2 to 5 people are actively involved in management, or you could use a manager managed structure for that as well. And the reason that we would use a manager managed structure within the management of a syndicate is if there's only certain people who are signing on the loan, then the lender wants to see that those people that are signing the loan are the ones in management of the manager, so that they're the ones making all the final decisions. And if you create that manager managed structure, let's say there's 5 people in your management and only 2 of them are going to sign the loan, then we would create a manager managed LLC that those 2 loan guarantors would be the managers, but all 5 of them would be members. And so then we would talk about how do we carve up ownership interests in management, because the ownership interests are usually what drive how much compensation that these members of this management team get from the different ways they earn money in a syndicate. So management of a syndicate is going to earn fees for their active role in management. So there could be an acquisition fee, an asset management fee, refinance fee, a loan guarantor fee, and a disposition fee. So you could have some of those, you could have all of those. It's kind of like an a la carte menu. Sometimes you'll have, some of them, but not always all of them. So those are the fees, but those aren't the way that you earn the bulk of your money. Okay, this is just kind of like money to keep you in business, right? It pays for your food and gas while you're doing the deal. Where you're really going to make the money is the management is going to carve out some of the ownership interests in that investor level entity. And it's going to keep some of the profits. So typical right now, we see a lot of 70-30 splits or 75-25 splits. Even some clients that are doing much bigger deals, like some of the ones you've done, Vinney, where they're doing the $50 to $60 million deals, they're even doing 80-20 splits.
I see. 80-20.
Some of that. But the smaller mid-level deals, 75-25, 70-30. And of course, this changes over time. When we first started doing deals, there were a whole lot of 60-40 splits.
60-40s. Oh my gosh. I did so many of them.
And then went to 65-35. Right. And then eventually 70-30. And so it changes, shifts with the economic time period that we're in and how much meat is left on the bone, for the management and for investors. So,